In our previous video, we talked about the various facets of misinformation, disinformation, and fake news and how they impact the social sector and developmental work. But beyond policy and program, these false narratives also have a deeply dangerous social consequence. In today's India, misinformation and hate speech is growing both in volumes and impact.
According to Alt News, nearly 39% of fake news in India is communal in nature.
Other types of identity-based fake news, such as those based on caste, ethnicity, community, and so on, is also increasingly prevalent. For example, in Nandurbar in Maharashtra, an Adivasi woman was beaten up because there was fake news spread about her being a witch.
जहाँ पर एक गांव है, उस गांव की एक महिला को, उस गांव में एक या दो बैलों की मृत्यु हुई और गांव के कुछ लोगों ने मिलकर के उस महिला के ऊपर आरोप लगाया कि इस महिला ने कुछ जादू टोटका किया है जिसकी वजह से बैलों की मृत्यु हो गई। यहाँ पर शुरुआत हो चुकी थी कि उसको डायन बोला जाए या उसको कोई और नाम दिया जाए। ये एक छोटी सी बात नहीं है, बहुत बड़ी चीज है कि अगर किसी को सिर्फ नाम भी इस तरह का दे दिया जाए। हम क्या करते हैं कि हम इस तरह की चीजों को दबाने की कोशिश करते हैं या हम इसको सही इंफॉर्मेशन लाने की कोशिश करते हैं। इस केस में हमने प्रॉपर लीगल जस्टिस सिस्टम के थ्रू हम गए, हमने जो लोग इन्वॉल्व थे उनके अगेंस्ट एफआईआर दर्ज करवाया और साथ ही साथ हमने इससे संबंधित बहुत सारी इंफॉर्मेशन अपने यूट्यूब के थ्रू या अपने वॉलंटियर्स के थ्रू अलग अलग गांव में हमने दिखाने की कोशिश की।
A 2020 study by the London School of Economics showed how WhatsApp was used to spread rumors and mobilize lynch mobs. Hate speech, especially when targeting religion, gender, caste, and region, spreads faster than facts. And this doesn't just stay online. It affects people on the ground, especially those working in the social sector. For social workers and grassroots groups, misinformation doesn't just create and spread fear. It also acts as a barrier to build trust with community members and spread awareness about genuine social issues. Since the social sector has a responsibility to uphold rights and mitigate discrimination, as well as facilitate access to resources, we should know what to look out for when it comes to hate speech. We should also know what we can do when hate speech spreads and impacts development. Step 1. Identify fake narratives and hate speech. When looking at information, ask, does it target identity? Does it use dehumanizing language? Does it incite violence or hatred? Does it spread stereotypes? And finally, ask, does this information call for exclusion? If all or some of these are true, then the information is suspicious and we should question it. Let's take an example, the love jihad conspiracy theory. It falsely claims that Muslim men are marrying Hindu women to convert them. There is no legal or statistical basis for this. Even the National Investigative Agency, as well as several high courts, have dismissed this. But this misinformation has laws in Uttar Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh that effectively criminalize interfaith relationships under the guise of forced conversions. For community workers supporting interfaith or intercaste couples, or gender-focused organizations advocating for women's rights to choose their partners, this environment has become increasingly hostile. They face intimidation from vigilante groups, threats of arrest under these laws, and are often targeted through online defamation. Some organizations have had to scale back fieldwork, stop offering shelter support, or avoid publicly discussing interfaith issues to protect staff and communities. Coming to step 2, understand the motivation behind hate speech. Hate speech doesn't spread by accident. It is strategically deployed. It is used to polarize voters on religious or caste lines, distract from real issues of unemployment, inflation, access to healthcare and education, as well as discredit dissent, including activists, social sector, and students. During the anti-CAA protests, student leaders and grassroots organizers were branded terrorists, urban Naxals, and arrested. If you're working on minority education, constitutional awareness, or legal aid in this climate, your work is not just developmental work. It is labeled as anti-national. That makes donors cautious, communities fearful, and partners hesitant. Step 3. Identify how does hate speech spread. Fake news and hate is spread through short, emotional, and viral content, not facts. A 2021 study by the Center for Internet and Society found that Facebook's algorithm barely flagged hate against Muslims even when it violated their own content guidelines. The final and the most important step, realizing the impact on the ground. Women field workers from marginalized communities are trolled, called names, or threatened online when they raise issues like domestic violence, child marriage, or caste discrimination. This reduces not just their safety but also participation in the workforce. Bebak Collective's report on social silencing and the isolation of Indian Muslims says that online hate leads to psychological distress, and for Muslim women and girls, a withdrawal from education, jobs, and public life, limiting their freedom of digital use and mobility. The consequences of this type of misinformation is not just confined to the digital realm. Young social workers in Murshidabad and Malda in West Bengal reported that misinformation, often spread via Reels and WhatsApp, has fueled local distrust against Muslims, impacting grassroots work. A 2023 Amnesty India report flagged increased attacks on human rights defenders, especially those working on minority welfare, interfaith harmony, or land redistribution. Misinformation and hate speech has led to funding cuts, cancelled MOUs, police questioning, and violence. So, what can we do? We can start by pausing before sharing that reel, by questioning what's trending and why, and by supporting those who continue the work of building justice, equity, and dignity despite fear.